Good morning, everyone. I'm Sanjana Jain, your host for today, and we are here to continue our discussion on IoT trends. This episode will be called IoT Trends Part 2, and here we have Mr. Narayan Gokhale, Associate Research Director, Quadrant Knowledge Solutions. Over to you, Narayanji.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjana. Glad to be back with the part two. Just to recap what we discussed in the first episode, we talked about generic trends in IoT, like IoT becoming mainstream. Then there are different interplays as to how IoT platforms are deployed, whether we build, whether it's buy or it's buy and integrate. And then we talked about how a strong IoT supplier ecosystem has emerged, and that kind of helps you speed up time to value. And then there are concerns about cybersecurity and knowledge and skills gaps. So we kind of had this in the background as a part when we discussed in the last episode. Now, moving on, we'll discuss in this part very specific trends. And the first of all, the trend is about sustainability. Very important trend that is driving IoT. So when you talk about sustainability, that means we have lots of IoT use cases that are being implemented to reduce carbon footprint and most importantly monitor the energy transition. The energy is getting transitioned from fossil fuels to greener sources of energy. So we have typical use cases that monitor all these forms of energy management. Then we have use cases related to emissions monitoring, carbon footprint, then integrated sustainability reporting, circular economy, green hydrogen. So there are lots and lots of kind of applications or use cases which are driven by sustainability, including battery manufacturers. And now Europe is one continent which is really driving this particular trend. They're at the forefront of sustainability and energy transitions, and most of those nations have net zero goals also in front of them. So now if you talk about couple of industry verticals, and if you take OEMs or manufacturers, so they are seeking various ways to improve or reduce environmental impact. And so therefore design decisions, how they can contribute significantly reduction in carbon footprint. And then operations is also thinking of what are those opportunities for sustainability improvement. If you take another vertical, which is transportation and logistics, it's where distributed assets are there. You are moving vehicles, you have warehouses. That's where edge computing is helping them in terms of taking real-time decisions. So sustainability and energy transition is definitely driving IoT. The second one, which is what is happening in the IoT space, is digital thread and what is called as closed loop automation. Okay, so we talked about this earlier also, about the IT, OT and ET integration. So now that is creating what is called as connected products, connected processes and connected workers. So the digital thread and the closed loop automation that we just talked about is the underlying theme across all these things, which is connected products, connected processes and connected workers. So you have a kind of a product that is being designed, and all the way how it is being manufactured, then it is serviced, and all that digital thread moving back into the design. Similarly, for processes, we got digital twins processes as built, as planned, for various aspects, for various processes that are there, and that is able to right from shop floor to chemical manufacturing. And there are various use cases in terms of how connected processes are working and enabling a lot of efficiency, productivity and transparency into the process. And then of course we got connected workers, where the AR and the VR, the augmented reality and the virtual reality, that is really helping not only the process operators, but most importantly the field technicians as well as the support staff. So all this entire staff or connected workers, they are able to kind of have a better communication, better support, and the underlying theme is of course the digital thread and closed loop automation. So then let's now move on to the third trend. Now, what is again driving IoT adoption? So out-of-box applications and purpose-built platforms. So and this also goes hand in hand with the trend that we are seeing is now like buy applications are on the rise and buy and integrate. So IoT vendors are giving or providing a lot of out of the box applications. It's already there, the application, you just integrate it with a minimal configuration. That is kind of helping them. Then rather than do it yourself platforms, the build platforms that we talked last time, there are already purpose built platforms already there, and most of the vendors are trying to make use of this, and therefore this is driving IoT adoption.
Okay.
Then another very important trend is edge computing. We made an entire episode about edge computing, so I'll not get into much details because we talked about the entire edge to cloud continuum and the various use cases. But I think just to summarize, so we have the network edge or the service provider edge and the user edge. So at the user edge, you have the constrained devices, you have smart devices and on-prem servers. So edge computing, both the storage and compute is getting distributed across this. So that is again a very important trend. And again, as I said, I'm not going to delve into much details because we had an entire episode kind of cover this. The next or the fifth trend that we're talking about is applied analytics. So applied analytics, again, we have a problem here in terms of, we talked about IT, ET, OT integration. So lots of data that is residing in data lakes and product telemetry. But how do you turn that data into insights? Now, there's a lot of hype, a lot of talk about AI, ML, but there are impediments, there are challenges to convert this data into insights. And so what people are looking at as something called as applied analytics. Here again, I'll get something which is already designed for me. I just use that, easy to use analytics, for my use cases, so that I turn that data into something meaningful, something valuable. Here again, there are pre-built modules for something what is called as contextual AI or explainable AI. Even vendors are building those as pre-built modules. And then there are orchestration modules also built around various ML models. So all this applied analytics is also helping drive IoT adoption, especially when we are talking about AI and ML. And the last is actually a summary of all the major trends, and you can say it's the emergence of host of new technologies. So we talked about digital twins and how it is helping various use cases. Then we talked about edge AI, we talked about cloud AI. So AI is happening both at the edge endpoints as well as at the cloud side. And we talked about generative AI. That's again something, newer technology which is coming up. Cybersecurity, again, we touched upon this, another important trend, because once you have a lot of devices connected IoT and into operations platform OT, so cybersecurity becomes very important. Then we talked about out-of-the-box connectors. So what is driving out-of-the-box connectors is something called as low-code, no-code platforms. That is also, newer technologies are being implemented, especially in the IoT field. And then technologies like containerization. So they are also kind of coming into the IoT space and the edge space and into the OT technology. So emergence of whole, host of these new technologies, again, a major trend. And therefore, we are moving into what is called as, software-defined everything. Or you heard of terms called as software-defined vehicles, software-defined networking. So if you take manufacturing, probably we are moving towards what is called as software-defined manufacturing. Where, just like how the IT assets are deployed and managed, similarly, OT assets would be deployed and managed, in the IoT and the OT space, thereby enabling probably something called as a software-defined manufacturing. So that kind of sums up, the trends, the specific trends that is driving the IoT business, the IoT market in general. And we covered it in two parts, generic trends in part 1 and more specific trends in part 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Narayanji. It was very valuable discussion, a lot of insights. Stay tuned, everyone, for more such episodes where we'll discuss more such valuable insights. Stay tuned. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.